From internationals for the internationals, this is International Hangout.
What's up, people of CO5? This is episode 4 of International Hangout, and my name is Shushanik.
I'm Satya Silva. Today, in the studio, we have Zaynab, who's the social media and marketing coordinator of ISO. And we're going to have a lot to talk about, for example, culture show and her experiences as an RA. And she's the president of Muslim Ummah Club, and she's one of the great CS students I know, and she's one of the smartest kids, to be honest, and she's sophomore, and she's from Morocco, so we would have stuff to talk about Morocco as well, and we'll get into all of that later. So, Zaynab, let's talk about the elephant in the room, like culture show, and I think it's better to kind of promote the cultural show and to tell people how the cultural show is important for international students. And the question I have in my mind would be, do you know how the cultural show got started, how the evolution and who suggested? Do you have an idea about it, or
First, thank you, Shushanik, and thank you, Suti, for bringing me to this episode. I've heard about International Hangout, and as a marketing coordinator of ISO, I've been marketing the show on the Instagram page. It's been a great pleasure to be here and discuss myself and discuss cultural show, as well discuss my culture with you. As for Suti's question about the evolution of the cultural show, it's great to have that as a starting question, because remembering history is a great part of developing the organization so far. And I feel like as an EC, I would really need to know the history behind the cultural show, and ISO in general too. So it was during the barbecue of ISO, which is an annual event happening, and it's like a tradition of sorts for the club. Yeah, I met Amalka. And you were there in the room as well. And I was very surprised when so she's if you guys don't know Amalka, she's in the board of members, and she's the only international in the board of members for CFI. And I was very surprised when she told me that she was one of the people that helped start the cultural show. And it really surprised me that it was a very recent start for the cultural show, because it was in 2000s. It was surprising, because I thought, the international community may have been part of the community, may have been part of CFI for a long time, but it was only recently that the college went for the diversity route. And in terms of evolution for the cultural show, I didn't dig deep into the research about it, but as part of my marketing strategy, I was trying to look into the previous videos for the cultural show as a way to advertise the newest one that's coming this year, which is this Wednesday, November 8th. And so looking back into the videos, I noticed that in 2013, in the 2010s, one of the videos was a bunch of international students filming in the Simplot kitchen, and it was the cultural show. Because the cultural show, as we know it, is in Jewett, but it was filmed in the Simplot kitchen, and it looks like the same kitchen as we have today, and it was very funny to me. That's how much I know about the past and the cultural show, and I know that as I feel like the pattern we see, even though I've been here for 2 years, is that we progress further as an ISO, and despite having less international students in the future, I feel like the cultural show have more performances each year, have more diversity, and have more talent going on.
Obviously, yeah.
So I'm excited for what's coming for this cultural show, because last year's cultural show was spectacular. It was a wide range of talents that I could foresee to I feel like the previous talents who are still the same this year have developed in their own ways, and I feel like they're gonna bring better.
You guys gonna double it up this year, right?
I hope so, yeah.
Nice. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah. Yeah, I just want to know like how it like the evolution of cultural show, because I felt like people see the cultural show, but they should know like how things started and to appreciate like like how the beginning of everything. So I feel like people would have gratitude towards it. Like us group of people came up with this idea, and yeah, I think people should be thankful for that. Yeah, then let's get into like we should talk about how important this event, how big this event for internationals, like what it means to be a part. Like I think ISO is like isn't it the biggest like organization on campus after? Is it the biggest or is it the second biggest? I think is it like the members wise?
Answering your question, Suti, yes, it is the biggest organization on campus. And I think we bring one of the biggest events on campus as well, which is the cultural show.
Right? So I think since it's a huge event, I know we have different people like who prefer to like perform and stuff. And having a cultural show, like watching the cultural show, it's a big deal. And like it kind of shout out like our culture. Like it's kind of like a one-stop shop for like people doing different stuff, and we have different regions and stuff. So I think it's a huge deal to be a part of it. So as an international student, what do you think like for you, and if you can speak behalf of other people, what do you think like what it means to be a part, and how much of a big deal it for you?
I would say I would answer this question in two parts. I would say how important is the cultural show to us international students, but how important it is for the whole community as well. For us international students, I would like to say there's this sort of division that is very well noticed between the locals and international students, and that cannot be denied in any way. I know there are many cultural, socio-cultural reasons for that, but it also comes down to pride as well, because some international students have some pride in their countries, and they really always want to showcase it in some way or another form to their local friends or local acquaintances or any local stranger that they might know, because they feel like they bring something to the table and they have pride in it. So of course they want to show it. The cultural show offers this opportunity for international students to show this pride, and I think through the unspoken words of poetry, music. I mean, poetry is somewhat spoken, but unspoken words of it's mostly it's very different to showcase your culture in what is built upon like dances and food, maybe poetry as well, and theater, rather than just discussing your life, because the beauty and the aesthetic behind the first is better than the latter, and it makes the other soothed with it. Like it soothes like the person's viewpoint and makes it more and it makes its mind more open-minded than I would say if you just tell your life story. Oh, I just came from Morocco. This is what I eat. Show a picture on Google Image, rather than making the person taste that food itself, like through because we put together the food fest every year, and if you just show him like your cultural clothing, it's better to just showcase it you wearing that cultural clothing. Like it's better if you have that sort of imagery in real life rather than just words and talking about it in conversation. And the cultural show is that intersection of all. In terms of this builds up upon like how it benefits the community as a overall, because most of the community members here are from Idaho, and from my experience talking to these people, they do counter to popular belief. They do have an open mind. It's just that they haven't been exposed, or they just haven't talked to international students. So when we bring the cultural show to Caldwell, we bring the world as well, because we bring 50 countries to the table. We bring an opportunity for people to learn about each other's differences and opinions. And it's a great way for Caldwell community, for Idaho community members or anyone in the U.S. like that is local to the country to learn further about the world. So that's why we bring the world to the Caldwell, and I hope the Caldwell can reach that footsteps to learn more about the world.
Right. Well said. Yeah, I mean, like you said, I think you kind of elaborated like what it means to be a part of culture show and like and what's importance and like how it feels and all. I think since you talked about like the food and all, I just wanna add this part. The ISO Food Fest, it was brilliant, and I think it's like all these fusion of different tastes and different cuisines and like just fantastic. And I think a lot of people like loved it, and I think you guys also selected a couple of people like who are the best cooks as well, and that was very impressive. I think that's like kind of appreciation of people who volunteered for cooking. And good work right there. You guys organized it well.
Thank you.
And I think you had a dish as well. Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, I think we could talk about the RA part. Like, I know you are an RA. I know you applied for an RA last year, and you are an RA in Hayman, right?
Yes.
Yes, and I think it would be nice if we could, talk about how is it like to be an RA, like how it feels and how's maybe a little bit about the application process and like how things going right now. And I think a lot of internationals, I know like after the conversations and stuff, I know like a lot of people want to become RAs. So, and it's kind of like an application process. You had to face interviews and stuff. So yeah, I'll let you explain about it. Yeah. So basically what it feels like to be an RA, and how did you get in? How did you become an RA?
An RA is a very beneficial job, and it gives you a good payback as well because you get a free room with it, and I guess that's why most international go for it.
Yeah. Right.
It cuts down on the cost of attending CFI, and it's a very much well thought of, like it's like a hard job to get because everyone needs that free room for sure. And I would say that's what makes the application process hard in the beginning, as you have to go through multiple steps and multiple application steps to get the job.
Yeah.
I would not discuss the application process because that's something you can ask Pres Life about it.
I get it.
But in terms of me getting the job, I very much well thought about, like, I fought to get the job for sure. And I would not lie, my initial intentions were my streak of mind was going to that, free room. But overall, it feels like as I got into the job, it was this belonging that made me kind of, happy and sort of, because the RA team is full of people who are very intentional, and they have big dreams, and they have good intentions, and they are much of a leader in the campus as they are outside of campus. And I truthfully get inspired by them because they're people who get the job done, who are good on their schedule, and I always looked for that motivation on campus. Because as a person, I value development myself, and I value being surrounded with people who develop me, and being surrounded by a team who is always on task, always on schedule, is something that uplifts me as a person and makes me want to develop myself further to get better. And the teamwork is something I've never teamwork skills. I've never experienced that in the past, and I always looked for that to develop myself in the career, in the professional future career path. The teamwork is exceptional because you get to organize events together. You get to divide tasks. Be on time for each other and respect each other's time and responsibilities as well. and communication as well. So something that college does is not only teach you the subjects towards your major, but also develop you as a person, develop you as a professional to the world of careers and the world of professionalism.
Outside,
and I feel like the RA really develops me for that. Aside from giving me a free room, I really enjoy one of the things we do as an RA is we get together each Wednesday, and on the end of the month we draw a calendar together. So it's a good time for us to debrief and get to know about each other and just have a good time and know about the weird times of the world. This is the National Day of Fish. This is the National Day just for the funsies.
Yeah, I think that's what we all wanted. Okay. Just a side question. What kind of being an RA, what kind of services, for example, I know RAs help out when we get locked out of our rooms and when a resident need kind of maybe medical attention, it could be. They help you guys. I mean, help residents a lot. Yeah, other than that, I think you said they organize events and stuff. Also, you guys help out people with the kitchen facilities and the laundry facilities, how to organize them, right? Did I miss anything? Are there other stuff, other tasks you guys do other than that?
I feel like if I had... There are tasks that I could not count as an RA, but I feel like as a person I must do as an RA for the well-being of my residents. If they ask me a question in terms of life or in terms of dealing with things as a student on the College of Idaho, I, of course, as an RA, as a person, I feel obligated to help them. So this, to stray away from the question, I would say this has made me feel like I got a little bit closer to my residents, and it made me see myself into them as well, because when we first come to this college, you're trying to find that social group who you can abide to the laws of it, and try to stray away from loneliness as much as possible, because you're trying to survive in this social structure of a campus. Seeing them get together, find their own ways, and find themselves and other people was really something I enjoyed watching, and because seeing friends hanging out and having fun together makes me think about the roots of humanity and how we need each other as a social creatures and stuff. So it was a very interesting part of my job to just bond with people and see them make friends. It was, I would not say a parental feeling, but it was more of an upperclassman who cares about its residents feeling.
Yeah, I also noticed you decorated I think one of the things RAs, they decorate the hallways. Do a good job on that. Now I think Sushani could take away from here to talk about Morocco and the culture and everything about it.
Okay, so Zaynab, I want to talk about Morocco and how you got to US. This is something that I always ask internationals, but especially the ones who are not Davis scholars. It's really interesting to know about your path, because at least as Davis scholars, our path is kind of similar, because we go to UWC and then we get Davis scholarship in around 100 schools in US, colleges in US, and we come here. But every time I see somebody who doesn't have a Davis scholarship and is here anywhere in US studying in a college, I always wonder how you guys got here, because I know that the path is harder than for what it's like for Davis scholars. So tell us about how you got to US.
That's my favorite question. I knew I was going to be asked that question because it's the international hangout. But
okay.
I would say it's a hard path for anyone, whether it's a Davis scholar or not. And I would not like to say that. I like to be humble and just say that everyone who's international has gone through hardships to go to the U.S. because it's a very rare opportunity. It's a very rare percentage of people from their own countries to get to the US. For my own side of the story, coming to the US was a leap of faith. I don't know where I got this much courage to just leave my country and just get to the US out of a sudden, because and I was a 15-year-old at that time when I got to the United States. And like internet does wonders, and you can get to so many opportunities by I'll talk to you. The internet does wonders, and there are so many things that you can do with the internet and it can showcase a lot of opportunities to your doorstep that you wouldn't otherwise if you didn't have the internet. So through the internet, I simply Googled the best U.S. boarding schools in the best United States boarding schools. And through a ton of research, I came across this boarding school who was in Idaho, Boise, and the name is Riverstone International School. At first, I was a little bit skeptic because they told me to pay this $48 fine of application. I was like, who pays? Like, because it's very weird back home to pay for something to apply for it, because it's mostly like a public system of schools and education. So I was like, I asked my mom, and if it wasn't for, I would like to say this, if it wasn't for the support system I have back home, which is family, especially my mother, I'm just going to state on my family, but especially my family, I wouldn't have been where I am today. And I'm totally grateful for that, because I feel like everyone needs to have a support system, whether it be family, friends, or anyone who like helped them along the way. They should always remember them, because they're there, like you're here for a reason, and that reason has part in like somebody's help, somebody or someone's help, and because of my family, I'm here, and I've always been grateful for that. So I applied, and I filled in all my application, essay-wise. I took the SAT because it was a somewhat popular test to take back home, because everyone wanted to go to America or Europe. So the two most well-known tests were the SATs and the preparatory classes, which will help you go to France. Because France was the most popular destination for Moroccan students.
Because you're colonized.
Exactly. I actually speak French as a second language.
It's like so
I feel
simple.
like if I would say colonial-wise, I'm both mad, but I'm also grateful that France colonized us, or else we would have been like fastly developed as we were today. Like compared, if we were never colonized, we would never have been we would never have a route system or like infrastructure as better as it would have been if France didn't colonize us. Going back. So most students would like to go for France, but it's a very rare occasion that they will aim for America. And so I took the SAT. I actually prepared for it a lot. I had this huge book, which my sister had, and I prepared for each single practice test. Took a time aside in my schedule to come back from school and do some practice tests, at least one. If not, I'm not aiming for a goal, and I'm not being strong or like courageous to take on that goal, which is bigger than myself. I took the SAT, applied with I think it was the SSAT, because the SSAT was the test for boarding schools. SAT is more of a college, so I took the SSAT. I was the only, I think there were 6 people in our test-taking center. So I was like, I feel like not a lot of people go for this route. So this is kind of exciting. It'll be kind of special if I went to this route. So it's kind of an adventure to be excited for and to aim for and to work for. And so I took the SAT. I applied with my SAT a bunch of essays, and I paid a fee like they told me to. And I was like... So at the same time, I would say I also applied for Davis. So Davis was a popular choice back home. I feel like it's a popular choice, in other countries as well.
Oh, UWC.
Yeah, I did apply for UWC. I got through the first stage. The second stage, I would say I didn't do well with it because I was a very shy person. I think I was 14 at that time. Yeah, as a 14-year-old, I was very shy, and a lot of people try to make themselves noticeable, and I didn't know that a wise method to get through that stage is to make yourself noticeable and showcase your talents and your skills. So I didn't do that, and I feel like I have this funny story where it was during in final stage, which is the interview stage for UWC, they do a lot of activities, and one of the activities is just debate. So they choose a topic. One is against, they choose people that are against that topic and people that are for that topic. I was against that topic, and and most people argumented whether it's for or against, and I feel like at that time I felt the pressure to put myself out there. So when I tried to say something, it was, I think we can all agree that we are agreeing on this topic. So I was like taking both sides instead of making a point that is against it and making myself because to go to UWC you need to know the most recent news and stuff to go through the So I messed up, and I was upset about it and everything, and I was like, oh dude, maybe I was very indifferent. I did not think I should not go for the US anymore. I was just very indifferent. I was like, there's always going to be opportunity. I'm still young. There's many things out there in the world, and there's many years to come where I can always go to the US. And then I received this email, I think 2 weeks later, and it was an interview point with the admission counselor for Riverstone International School here in Idaho, Boise. Mind you, I never tried to research Riverstone International School location, but I researched everything else about Riverstone International Schools, international school, its pillars, its programs and everything. I didn't even try to research its location, so I didn't know it was in Idaho. I thought it was in California, like every other private boarding schools in the U.S. or in the East Coast. So I was like, okay, it doesn't matter to me the location as long as I am out of this country. So I got to the interview stage, and it was a very different conversation with the admission counselor. Her name is Rachel Push. I still am in contact with her and everything. It was a very different conversation because I think it was my first time talking with an American. And it was a very sort of different discussion tone and discussion pattern and discussion skills rather than I was used to back home with people, whether it's young people or old people. So I was kind of curious, and made me it kind of uplifted my spirit up to aim for the U.S. more. And I did my best in the... It was my first time speaking English more than 15 minutes. So it was a hardship, but also it was a pleasure to talk with someone who had different... a speaking accent than me, and speaking a speaking pattern, a speaking tone than me. And she was really nice. It really showcased the niceness of Americans. The interview really showcased that niceness of Americans that I really liked, and I was like, they do really seem hopeful, rather than back home people who sometimes seem very sometimes upset, even though they don't they are not upset, but they sound upset and they seem upset. So I was like, this is very interesting. I really like to know this side of the world more. And later on, I was accepted, and it was with a ton of scholarship. So I packed my things. Next day, I packed my things and flew as a 15-year-old with three suitcases, and I just stayed in this room, and I was rethinking my life. It smelled very IKEA of the room.
Wow,
IKEA.
That's impressive. So is it common in Morocco to go to boarding schools? You said to France, but I wonder, how does a 15-year-old make that decision? Because we made that decision too, but I don't know. I feel like we were so young and unconscious of what's happening. When I remember myself in UWC, it's what the hell was I doing even?
I also question myself why I did that as a 15-year-old. But it's not very common for for Moroccans to head outside the country as a middle school children, as middle school kids, as people who just started high school. It's mostly like right after like they graduate or something. So I think I've always been somewhat of a kid who wandered. I always wondered in my mind. I didn't want to be stuck in the same room or the same place or the same school always. And I thought myself, like, I'm still like this. As part of myself, I really don't care where I'm heading to, as long as where I'm heading aims with my values and aims with my intentions and my dreams. I really don't care where and how I'm gonna do it. It just takes that starting point to go for it. And I feel like I've been thinking about that ever since I was a kid. As long as I put my mind into it, I know that things will solve itself with time and patience. So that's why I went for it as a 15-year-old.
Yeah. Okay. Anything?
Yeah, I mean, Morocco culture is like, Morocco is one of those countries that is like very like, you know, colorful, the blue city, and I think like it's a very famous tourist destination in the world. And I don't know, I want to know more about that. Like, what do you think is the most unique about Morocco?
Morocco is very stable, I would say. I think as people are content enough with their lives that they don't want to create problems with, they don't want to create problems with themselves, with other people as well. Like, they're just content and they just happy with what they have. We can see that as well with people who not only poor people but also people who are rich in the country. People who are rich in the country usually, from what I was told, is they get rich in another country like Dubai or Saudi Arabia or the United States. They earn this much money and they always go back home to where for sure they belong, but it feels like it's a better place for them to grow their kids and to grow and to further progress with their values and what they aim for in life. Because that country provides stability and provides just ease of mind, I would say. It's not only the color, like, because colors can ease your mind, but and like how colorful, how like the like how color. No, it's not only the color, like how colorful the walls are or the colorful like the streets are. It's how colorful the community and the mindset of people there is. It's how people feel equal without having to say, "Oh, we are different." It's this belonging that makes them go back to this homeland, to the familiar sounds, the familiar food, the familiar family, because it's not only the family that you grew up around, but it's also the family who supported you outside of that family. Because Morocco is a religious country. It has mostly Muslims, and one of our values is you love a stranger. Just like how would you love yourself, or like you love a stranger, and it comes down to not like showcasing that love openly, but it comes down to the support you show through like inviting him or her, like that stranger, to a meal, giving them the support that they probably wouldn't have if they don't have a family, or if their family doesn't support them. So if you're missing something, the community provides you with, is trying its best to provide you what you're missing.
Yeah.
And if you're rich or poor, you're probably missing something, and that's why you always go back to the roots. Probably that's why most rich people go back to Morocco, because they feel like they were missing something when they went to these foreign countries, and if they went back home, the people around them who genuinely care for them provides them back with that missing thing.
Wow. So are your plans connected to Morocco? Do you plan to go back?
Only time will tell, honestly. I started off, I never raise my question where I go back because I always raise the question where do I start, where do I go first. I never raise the question where do I go back because only time will tell.
And tell us about your favorite Morocco tradition.
There are a lot of Moroccan traditions, and there are very weird ones like black magic. That's how we will know.
Okay, black magic.
Put in,
there you go.
It's called sihr. Put in black magic on people and catching spouses from husbands. No, I'm joking.
What?
It's a very well known. There's a rumor that Moroccan women. I mean, not me. I'm just saying Moroccan women are very good at catching Arab men from Arab women. That's why we're probably taught up as these witches who do that, do black magic and stuff. I mean, there is black magic in Morocco. But this is the dark side of the traditions. My favorite tradition is one meal, one table, 15 people. We have, as humans, we are. I feel like coming to the US. Coming to the US, as a Moroccan, I was very weirded out by the sort of division, and I think a lot of people from other cultures see that as well. The divisions within people with themselves and people with members of their community, because there's no sort of tradition that could bring all these people together. You go to an American house, you see these people eating in their room instead of eating at the same table for dinner. But it's always obliged in American household to eat dinner in time with family at a certain time. Each family has its certain time. Because when you get together, you bring all what you've accumulated through the day. You help each other out, through advice or through talking. Talk philosophically, talk scientifically, talk I hate this girl, I saw her in school and stuff like that.
Okay.
Just let it all out. Because in the same table, you have people who care about you, you have people who support you, who notice you. And it's always great with food, with a good smell of food, with a good taste of food. And it makes it magical. And I think that's and if it's on one plate, then you all reach in your hands to support each other, but reach in your hand to eat the same meal.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm just
Promotion. Wait, I've noticed that I have this so basically I'm friends with of course I do have a lot of friends from Middle East, and I've noticed that when they share food with you, it's something very personal because everyone eats from the same plate and they eat with their hands, and I think that's ultimate trust because as someone who's germophobic, I would never trust random people with
that. I didn't even know that's a term, germophobic. Okay.
Yeah, it's one. And one of the families that I'm friends with, they told me that if they share food with you, if they invite you to their family dinners and stuff like that, it's the biggest expression of how close they consider you to their family and how they think you're so important to them.
I think when you're eating as a human in front of other people, you're showcasing your raw. You're showcasing what makes you human. You're just a mortal who can eat and drink and stuff. You're just like anyone else in this world is can eat. I mean, except some exception. There are some exceptions for sure, but what makes us we have some common traits as humans, which is eating, going to the bathroom, drinking water, and if you show your equality through eating, it's sort of comforting, it's a comfort, and it just shows you that if I'm inviting you to eat, I'm just saying, you're like me, I'm like you, we're both equal, so let's share this meal. Let's share this meal and let's have a good time together. Just as we are equal.
So basically, you were kind of answering my question that I wanted to ask after this one about minorities in Morocco and indigenous people in Morocco. And I want to know about numbers and what part of Morocco population is the indigenous people and what part is Arab people, and just
we're, as indigenous people, we're not a minority for sure. We make up I would not say numbers because I'm not familiar with numbers, but we make up most of the population. If I had to take on who's Arab and who's not Arab, as a Moroccan, I haven't done the research on the percentage, but I would say from the perspective of Moroccans, we don't really care whether that person is an Arab or not to even classify it as a statistic, because over time, the only thing that bonds us all is our religion, which is Islam, and we don't care where we come from and everything. If you talk about minorities, the minorities we have are minorities, whether it's people from the sub-Saharan Africa, like coming to our country as migrants, and we also have minorities that are mostly religious, like Jewish people and Christians. How Morocco handles that is that I think, like we said, in our values, we don't really care how different you are, and we don't classify you in terms or anything different of a difference. I always walk in the capital and I see some Christian churches, and I'm like it's just a church in the capital city, but it seems like we do have minorities, but despite us being a majority of Muslims, we have minorities of Christian, and we just treat them as we would as hospitable people. A lot of Jewish also came to North Africa in history to flee from the Holocaust, and I know that Moroccan king, the Mohammed Hassan II, has brought him home in Morocco, and most of the Jewish population, most of the Jewish population in Israel are mostly Moroccans. Are mostly Moroccans. We always try to bring a home to everybody, no matter the differences, because at the end of the day, you're equal to me in the meal we share, or stuff like that. It's one of the things we value as a Moroccan people.
Okay.
I think we also need to know the difference between being an Arab and an Arab-speaking person. It's the same difference as being French and a French-speaking person.
Okay, so one of the important questions I should ask would be, how do you feel about the Zaynab that was like in Morocco, like maybe when you're 14, or like, and now here in United States, like CFI as a sophomore? Like, how's the difference? Like, how do you compare, like your growth and stuff?
Zaynab, when I was a 14-year-old, of course, was a child, and I would say I'm still a child, and I know I'll still be a child in the future because I'm always learning, and I'm always trying to be curious and always wanted to develop myself. But when Zaynab was 14, she didn't know what her identity as much as Zaynab right now. She didn't know that it always feel like as much as you are far away from home, you forget who you are, and it's always good to go back to who you are as a person in terms of identity, or what you hold as a value in this world, and who are the people that are there for you. When Zaynab was 14, I just didn't get a sense of that. I just wanted to enjoy the country, enjoy being there, because it's a rare opportunity to be part of. I just wanted to explore, sightsee, make some friends that are not Moroccans. And understand, because I was in an international boarding school, so understand the world as well. So I never went back and took time for myself, understood who I am. But as I got used to the first part, I am now trying to discover, and always try to discover that part of mine, instead of looking into the others. Maybe the others will teach me a little bit about myself. But right now it's more about myself rather than looking for other things. Because some things could be useful for me, and some things could not add up to my life as well.
Yeah, I think we all have to take away something from there. Okay, I think that's a very thoughtful episode. We promoted cultural show and stuff. By the way, so we're gonna have the cultural show on When is it again?
November 8th.
November 8th. Yeah. So
And the Boise Cultural Show will be on November 18th. So I hope you guys can make some time for it because you rarely make time for something that is this special. Like when would you find the time to make something for this special other than this Wednesday or the 18th?
Yeah. Okay, you heard that. So yeah, thank you for the thoughtful.
Thank you for bringing me here.
Thoughtful episode, Zaynab, and yeah, I think that's about it. Let's call it a wrap. Okay, see you guys. Take care, everyone. See you in the next episode then.
See you.
Ciao.